Forward, the beginning of you. There are books that teach. There are books that comfort. There are books that inspire. But every once in a while, a book arrives to awaken. This is one of those books. The beginning of you is not a guide for perfect people, nor is it a roadmap for those who have mastered life. It is a companion for the ones who have felt afraid, who have lost control, who have collapsed under the weight of their own expectations, and wondered what comes next. This book was born from a simple but powerful truth. Transformation does not begin when life is stable. It begins when life is honest, when fear is admitted, control is loosened, and identity is questioned. The human heart enters a sacred space, where the Creator begins to rebuild from the inside out. These chapters are not instructions. They are revelations. They are invitations. They are reminders of a truth deeper than circumstance, that you are more than you've been led to believe, that you are connected to something greater than yourself, and that your becoming is not random. It is designed. Every chapter is a step. Every step is a layer, and every layer reveals a self that has been waiting to rise. This is the book you read when you are ready to finally meet the person you were created to be. May these words open something in you. May they soften what was hardened, strengthen what was weakened, and awaken what was sleeping. Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the unraveling. Welcome to the remembering. Welcome to the beginning of you. Chapter 1. The moment you admit you're scared. There comes a point in every life when the weight inside your chest finally speaks louder than the mask on your face. You don't plan it. You don't rehearse it. You don't even want it. It just happens. A breath catches. A truth rises. And for the first time, you admit it. I'm scared. It's strange how such a small confession can shake the foundations of everything you thought you were. You've spent years stacking bravery like bricks, building yourself into someone who looks strong enough to carry any storm. Someone who laughs when the world tightens its grip. Someone who refuses to be the one who breaks. But fear doesn't ask for permission. It waits behind your ribs. Quiet, patient, knowing the day will come when you no longer have the energy to pretend you control everything. Because you don't. You never did. Admitting fear isn't weakness. It's honesty. It's the doorway to everything real. It's the moment a soul stops performing and starts breathing. Fear exposes the truth. That control was always an illusion. A story you told yourself to feel safe. In a world too vast to command. Control is the myth. Fear is the unveiling. But here is the part we miss. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is the invitation. When you confess you're scared, you confess you are human. And being human is not a flaw. It is the space where the Creator meets you. Because vulnerability is not the collapse of strength. It is the beginning of understanding. It is the first step toward the moment your soul stops gripping the world and prepares to let go. And letting go is the beginning of becoming. This is where transformation begins. Not in the confident days, not in the victories, not in the moments you felt on top of your life, but in the trembling confession that you don't have control. That moment feels like falling. But really, it's the moment you begin to rise. Because before the Creator can reshape you, you must first acknowledge where the cracks are. You must first speak the truth your heart has been holding. And the truth is simple, holy, and liberating. I'm scared. Say it. Face it. Let it breathe. Because the moment you admit you're scared is the moment the Creator begins to make you new. Chapter 2. Losing control is the doorway. There is a moment that comes after fear. Quiet, subtle, almost invisible, unless you're paying attention. It's the moment when your hands, after holding life so tightly for so long, finally begin to loosen. Not because you want to, but because you can't hold on anymore. This is the moment people misinterpret. They think losing control is failure. They think it's collapse. They think it's proof they weren't strong enough. But losing control isn't collapse. It's collision with the truth of your own humanity. We try so hard to command life, to bend it into shapes that feel safe, predictable, comforting. We grip relationships, outcomes, expectations, as if force alone could keep everything standing. But life doesn't obey closed fists. It never has. And eventually, your soul grows tired of pretending. It was built to steer a universe. It didn't create. So control begins to slip. Not as punishment, but as invitation. The doorway does not appear when everything is stable. The doorway appears when everything becomes too heavy to carry alone. Most people fear this doorway. They sit in front of it, trembling, trying to rebuild their illusion of control. Brick by brick, they don't realize the doorway is the very thing they have been praying for. Because control was never strength. It was self-protection. It was armor made of worry. It was the myth that you could outrun fear by tightening your grip. But you cannot grow while clinging to who you used to be. You cannot evolve while trying to preserve the version of you that was breaking quietly on the inside. So the Creator, in mercy and wisdom, allows what you hold to loosen, not to harm you, but to free you. Losing control is not the end of stability. It is the end of illusion. It is the beginning of surrender. And surrender is the soil where transformation grows. Because when you finally stop gripping everything, you discover something revolutionary. You don't need control to be whole. You don't need certainty to walk forward. You don't need power to become who you were created to be. All you need is willingness. The willingness to trust that what feels like falling apart is actually falling into place. The willingness to let the old self crack so the new one can breathe. The willingness to step through the doorway into a life shaped not by your fear, but by your Creator. This is where becoming begins. Not in holding on, but in letting go. Losing control isn't the breakdown. It's the breakthrough. Chapter 3. The collapse of the old self. There comes a moment in every journey when the ground beneath you shifts. Not violently, not with warning, but with a quiet certainty that something inside you cannot continue the way it has. It doesn't feel like growth at first. It feels like breaking. The old self, the one built from survival, from expectations, from fear masquerading as strength, begins to loosen its grip. You don't always notice the beginning of this shift. It starts in small ways. A thought you no longer believe, a habit that no longer comforts, a lie you refuse to carry one more day. But then the unraveling begins. And once it begins, it is sacred. Because collapse is not destruction. Collapse is truth demanding room to breathe. The old self fights to remain. It argues, bargains, reminds you of all the years spent holding it together. It tells you collapse is dangerous, that everything will fall apart if you stop being who you've always been. But listen closely. That voice isn't wisdom. It's fear, trying to survive its own expiration. The old self was never built to last. It was built to protect you until you were strong enough to live without it. And now, you are. So the collapse begins, not as punishment, but as mercy, because the Creator is too loving to let you remain a version of yourself that cannot hold your purpose. The collapse is the release of everything that once kept you alive, but now keeps you small. It is the crumbling of false identities, false strength, false control. It is the return to your original design, the you that existed before the world tried to teach you who to be. The collapse feels like losing yourself, but in truth, it is the first time you begin to find yourself. Because only when the old self falls can the true self rise. Only when you let the former version die can the new creation breathe. Only when the masks crack can your soul see the light. The Creator has been shining all along. This collapse is holy. It is transformation dressed as ruin. It is becoming hidden inside breaking. So do not fear the falling. Do not fear the cracking. Do not fear the unraveling. The collapse is not the end. It is the clearing of the ground for who you are becoming. This is where the beginning of you starts to take shape. Chapter 4. Becoming a new being. Becoming does not happen in an instant. It is not a sudden sunrise, not a snap of divine fingers, not a single moment of clarity that fixes everything at once. Becoming is quieter than that, and far more sacred. It begins in the space the collapse created, the open ground where your old self once stood. A space that feels empty at first, uncomfortable, too quiet, too honest. But emptiness is not absence. Emptiness is invitation. It is the room the Creator clears, so something new can live in you, because no one becomes new while still holding the shape of who they used to be. So the Creator begins a gentle work, not by force, but by whisper. A nudge here, a stirring there, a reminder that something inside you is waking up. Becoming is the moment when your soul begins to choose truth over fear, purpose over comfort, identity over image. It's the slow rebuilding of a self that was waiting behind the shadows, a self that always existed but was never given room to breathe. Becoming means you start to notice. You no longer move from survival. You move from intention. You no longer grip life. You walk with it. You no longer hide your wounds. You heal them. You no longer measure yourself by who failed you, or who left you, or who misunderstood you. You become someone who sees through the surface of things, someone who senses God in places you once overlooked, someone who understands. That transformation begins the moment you stop trying to return to who you were. Becoming is not about improvement. It is about emergence. It is the unveiling of a soul that was handcrafted, deliberate, purpose-built by the Creator. A being who is no longer defined by fear, by control, by the old self's limitations. A being who rises, not because life became easier, but because truth became impossible to ignore. This new being is not a different person. It is the real you finally stepping forward. The you who sees differently, feels differently, moves differently, loves differently. The you who understands that the world you're trying to change starts inside. Because you are the first creation, the Creator is remaking. Becoming a new being does not mean you've arrived. It means you've awakened. It means the beginning of you has truly begun.
Chapter 5.
The world you're trying to change is you. There is a moment in awakening that feels like a revelation and a rebuke. At the same time, it's the moment you realize that every battle you thought was outside of you, every storm, every barrier, every enemy, every limitation, was in some way a reflection of the war happening within. It doesn't mean the world isn't broken. It doesn't mean people didn't hurt you. It doesn't mean circumstances didn't shape your wounds. But it does mean this: the first world you are responsible to heal is the one living inside your chest. Because your inner world is the lens you use to see everything else. If your inner world is wounded, every word feels like a weapon. If your inner world is afraid, every opportunity feels like a threat. If your inner world is chaotic, every decision feels like a trap. If your inner world is empty, every blessing feels undeserved. We try to change the world using the same internal patterns that broke us. We try to fix people while ignoring the fractures in our own hearts. We try to rearrange life without acknowledging the places inside us that still need to be rebuilt. But the Creator does not start change outside of you. The Creator starts change within you. The world does not shift until you shift. Reality does not soften until your heart does. Life does not open until you open. This is the uncomfortable truth. You cannot outrun your inner world. You carry it into every room, every relationship, every choice, every silence, every dream. You are a world among worlds. And when you begin to heal your own world, when you confront your fear, release your control, shed your old self, and step into becoming, everything outside of you begins to transform too. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You start hearing differently. seeing differently, responding differently, loving differently, choosing differently. The storms still come, but you stand in them. As someone new, the challenges still rise, but you meet them with a heart that is no longer fractured. The people around you still falter, but you no longer crumble with them. Your inner world becomes your atmosphere. Your atmosphere becomes your influence. Your influence becomes your world. This truth is not burden. It is empowerment, because you don't have to wait for anyone or anything to transform your life. When you shift, the world shifts with you. This is the beginning of you and the transformation of everything connected to you. Chapter 6. You are a world among worlds. There is a sacred truth woven into the fabric of existence. You are not small, not accidental, not random, not insignificant. You are a world, a living, breathing universe of thoughts, memories, fears, hopes, dreams, wounds, and divine potential. You carry galaxies of emotion, oceans of experience, mountains of resilience, inside a single human frame. The Creator did not give you a soul. The Creator made you a soul, wrapped in flesh, walking with purpose. You are a world among worlds, and like every world, you have seasons, times of growth, times of drought, times of light, times of shadow, times of stillness, times of storms. You have landscapes inside you, the valleys of memories you rarely visit, the deserts of things you survived but never named, the forests of dreams you keep protected, the rivers of purpose running beneath everything, the mountains of identity you are still learning to climb. You are too vast to be measured by one mistake, one moment, one chapter, one fear. Your inner world is expansive, far more than you have ever allowed yourself to believe. And here is the most profound truth. Every person you meet is a world too, a world with its own storms, its own sunrise, its own gravity, its own unseen battles. This is why compassion matters. This is why connection matters. This is why presence matters. Worlds collide every day, quietly, suddenly, unexpectedly. And when two worlds meet with understanding, something sacred happens. Growth becomes shared. Healing becomes possible. Light becomes transferable. But it begins with knowing who you are. Not a single moment, not a single struggle, not a single fear, but a universe of becoming. A world formed by the Creator, shaped with intention, filled with purpose, capable of change, capable of creating change. You are not drifting through existence. You are influencing it by simply being here. And the more you grow, the more your world expands, and the more your expansion inspires the worlds around you to rise as well. This is the mystery of identity. This is the beauty of creation. This is the truth of your existence. You are a world among worlds, and the Creator lives in the center of you. Chapter 7. Knowing who you are. Before you can walk in purpose, before you can rise into becoming, before you can embody the world the Creator placed within you, you must know who you are. Not who people believe you are. Not who circumstances forced you to be. Not who you pretended to be to survive. Not who fear molded you into. Who you are. Identity is not found. It is uncovered. It sits beneath the layers you've built over the years. The masks, the expectations, the survival instincts, the hurts you carried until they felt like personality, the roles you played because life gave you no script. You learned how to walk with wounds, as if they were features. You learned how to speak with pain, as if it were language. You learned how to carry weight, as if heaviness was normal. But none of that is your identity. None of that is your origin. None of that is your truth. That's why knowing who you are is not about creating something new. It's about remembering something eternal. Identity is revelation, not invention. It is the moment when the noise fades, and you hear your soul speak the way it did before the world taught you silence. It is the moment you stop asking, "What do they want me to be?" and begin asking, "What did the Creator design me to become?" Real identity is quiet. It does not shout. It does not beg for attention. It does not need the applause of the world to know its own worth. Identity rooted in truth is steady, unshaken, and anchored. It is the kind of knowing that can't be taken away by rejection, betrayal, failure, or fear. Because when your identity rests in the one who made you, it becomes untouchable. Knowing who you are is knowing that you carry value, even when others fail to see it. It's knowing that your purpose remains, even when your plans collapse. It's knowing that your worth is fixed, because it was set by the Creator, not by the world. Identity is freedom. Freedom from comparison. Freedom from insecurity. Freedom from the pressure to fit into a life too small for your soul. When you know who you are, you stop shrinking yourself to match the expectations of others. You stop apologizing for the light inside you. You stop fearing the size of the world within you. You begin to honor the truth that you were crafted intentionally, designed purposefully, and placed here with meaning. Knowing who you are is the beginning of authority, not power over others, but power within yourself. The authority to choose healing, the authority to choose peace, the authority to choose purpose, the authority to choose truth, the authority to become who you were always meant to be. Identity is not the final destination, it is the door. And once you know who you are, the path before you becomes clear. You are a creation of the Creator. You are a world among worlds. And you are becoming the truest version of yourself you were designed to carry. Chapter 8. Knowing where you came from. To know who you are is only half the awakening. To know where you came from is the other half, and it changes everything. Because identity without origin is direction without foundation. It can drift. It can weaken. It can forget itself when life grows heavy. But when you remember your origin, your soul becomes unshakable. You did not begin in fear. You did not begin in pain. You did not begin in confusion, trauma, failure, or human limitation. You began in the mind of the Creator. Before breath entered your lungs, before your first heartbeat, before the world taught you anything, you existed in pure intention. You were crafted with precision, spoken into being with purpose, designed with details you have not yet fully uncovered. You came from intelligence, from love, from design, from divine imagination. You came from a source that makes no mistakes. This is why your soul aches when you live beneath your purpose. You were never designed for smallness. This is why your spirit resists anything that diminishes your truth. You were born from greatness. This is why no amount of distortion can erase your value. Your worth is woven into your origin. Knowing where you came from is understanding that your life did not begin the day you were born. It began the moment the Creator dreamed you into existence. You were not a reaction. You were not an accident. You were not a coincidence. On the timeline of Earth, you were chosen, intended, formed, loved, before you ever opened your eyes. And this truth carries power. When you know your origin, you stop chasing validation from places that never made you. You stop bowing to opinions that did not create you. You stop shrinking your soul to fit rooms built by people who do not understand your design. Your Creator is your reference point, not your past, not your failures, not your fear, not your wounds, not your mistakes. To know where you came from is to walk with a quiet confidence that cannot be stolen, because who can take from you what they never gave? When storms rise, you remember your foundation. When doubt whispers, you remember your beginning. When fear tries to reclaim you, you remember your source. You came from the Creator, and that means you came from strength, wisdom, beauty, purpose, and divine intention. Every part of you is rooted in a power greater than anything you will face. And when you remember your origin, you begin to rise as the person you were always meant to be. Chapter 9. The Creator in All Things. There is a moment in becoming when your eyes begin to open, not in the way sight works, but in the way truth works. You start to notice something you overlooked your entire life. The Creator has never been distant. The Creator has been everywhere, not just in the holy places, not just in the quiet prayers, not just in the moments that feel sacred, but in the ordinary, the painful, the unexpected, the unnoticed. You begin to see the Creator in the rise and fall of your breath, in the gentleness of a sunrise, in the persistence of your heartbeat, in the way light always finds a way, through even the smallest crack. You begin to hear the Creator in the silence between your thoughts, in the whisper that steadies you, in the peace that arrives. At the exact moment your strength runs out, you begin to feel the Creator in the ache that shaped you, in the healing that rebuilt you, in the love that never abandoned you. Even when you abandoned yourself, the Creator is not an observer. The Creator is the fabric of everything. In every lesson you learned, in every chapter you survived, in every moment you thought you were alone, but somehow kept moving, there was the Creator, guiding without forcing, calling without shouting, leading without dragging. The Creator hides in plain sight, in the people who encouraged you, in the situations that grew you, in the doors that closed, to protect you from paths that were never meant to be yours. The Creator is in the small mercies you never gave a name to, in the protection you didn't notice, in the blessings you took for granted, in the timing that confused you, but later revealed its brilliance. The Creator is in the struggle, because struggle softens the soil, where truth takes root. The Creator is in the waiting, because waiting teaches your soul how to listen. The Creator is in the breaking, because broken pieces allow light to enter places that were sealed shut. And the Creator is in the becoming, because becoming is the return to who you were designed to be. When you recognize the Creator in all things, life stops feeling random, pain stops feeling pointless, growth stops feeling accidental. You begin to understand that your story was never disconnected, it was divinely arranged. Every chapter prepared you, every season shaped you, every lesson strengthened you, every loss redirected you, every moment brought you closer to truth, to identity, to purpose, to the Creator's breath inside you. This is the awakening. The Creator has always been near. The Creator has always been guiding. The Creator has always been in you. And once you see the Creator in all things, you begin to see the Creator in yourself. Chapter 10. The Return of Courage. Courage doesn't return the same way it left. It doesn't come crashing back into your life with noise, with force, with a shout. It returns gently, quietly, like a familiar warmth you forgot belonged to you. For a long time, you believed courage was gone, taken by fear, buried under loss, drowned by uncertainty, washed away by moments that broke you. But courage doesn't disappear. It waits. It waits for the moment you stop pretending you're unbreakable. It waits for the moment you stop gripping the illusion of control. It waits for the moment you finally collapse into honesty. Because courage does not grow in the soil of denial. It grows in truth. And truth now lives in you. Courage returns the moment you understand that fear isn't your enemy. Fear is your teacher. Fear showed you where you were holding on too tightly. Fear revealed the places that needed healing. Fear exposed the false self, so the true self could rise. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the transformation of it. The moment fear bows, courage stands. But this courage is different from the one you carried before. The old courage was armor. Hard, rigid, exhausting. It came from pressure, expectation, survival. It required you to perform strength, even when you felt none. But the new courage, the courage born from becoming, is soft and stronger at the same time. It does not demand perfection. It does not ask you to hide your wounds. It does not expect you to walk without trembling. This courage moves with vulnerability, breathes with humility, and stands with the knowledge that you don't walk alone. This courage is built on the foundation of your true identity, the one rooted in the Creator. It knows you were designed for purpose, for growth, for resilience. It knows the storms didn't break you, they shaped you. It knows the collapse didn't destroy you, it cleared the way. It knows that every fear you faced was actually carving out space for strength to return. Courage is not loud anymore. It is steady. It is the quiet conviction that you can move forward, even when the path is unclear. It is the calm knowing that your life is guided, even when your steps feel small. It is the peaceful truth that what is meant for you cannot be taken from you. This is the courage that returns after awakening. Courage rooted in identity. Courage grounded in purpose. Courage held by the Creator. A courage that doesn't shout, but walks. A courage that doesn't pretend, but believes. A courage that doesn't break, because it's built from the truth of who you've become. This is the return of courage, and it marks another chapter in the beginning of you. Chapter 11. Rebuilding the inner world. Once courage returns, something shifts inside you. Something subtle but undeniable. You begin to feel the space that the collapse created. It used to feel like loss. Now it feels like possibility. It used to feel like emptiness. Now it feels like room to breathe. This is where rebuilding begins. Not the rebuilding of the old self. That version had its season, served its purpose, and has been respectfully laid to rest. This rebuilding is different. It is not a return. It is a rise. Your inner world, the landscape of your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotional patterns, your spiritual posture, begins to transform. And the rebuilding doesn't start with what you do. It starts with what you choose. You choose peace over chaos you once called normal. You choose boundaries where you once allowed everything in. You choose healing in places you used to hide. You choose honesty in spaces where you once performed. You choose presence instead of distraction. You choose purpose instead of survival. Every choice becomes a brick. Every intention becomes foundation. Every moment of awareness becomes structure. And slowly, quietly, faithfully, a new inner world takes form. Rebuilding does not require perfection. It requires participation. You show up. You try. You learn. You adjust. You fall. You rise. You keep moving. What used to trigger you starts to teach you. What used to scare you starts to strengthen you. What used to break you starts to build you. Because now you understand. Your inner world sets the tone for your outer world. A healed mind thinks differently. A restored heart loves differently. A peaceful spirit walks differently. A rooted identity chooses differently. You start noticing new things. You no longer walk into rooms trying to be enough. You walk in already knowing you are. You no longer chase validation the way you used to. Your value isn't a question anymore. It's a truth you carry. You no longer search for purpose as though it's hiding from you. Purpose becomes the language your soul speaks naturally. This rebuilding is sacred because it is intentional. It is not rushed. It is not forced. It is not reactive. It is guided. The Creator does not rebuild with haste or desperation. The Creator rebuilds with precision, with love, with detail, with purpose. Every piece of your new inner world is placed with meaning. Every lesson, every healing, every surrender, every revelation, all of it becomes structure, the architecture of your becoming. And one day, without realizing when it happened, you look at your life from the inside and say, "This feels like home." Not because it's perfect, not because everything makes sense, but because your inner world finally reflects the truth of who you are becoming. This is the rebuilding. This is the restoration. This is the shaping of the new you. And it is beautiful. Chapter 12. Becoming who you were designed to be. There comes a moment, quiet, sacred, undeniable, when you realize you are no longer who you used to be. Not because life suddenly became perfect, not because everything is clear, not because all your questions are answered, but because you have transformed. You've shed old skins, released old fears, let go of the illusion of control, faced truths you once ran from, rebuilt from foundations you didn't know you had. And through all of it, something has awakened inside you. Purpose. Not the purpose others expect from you. Not the purpose you were pressured into. Not the purpose you chased out of insecurity or survival. This is the purpose, woven into your existence. From the moment the Creator imagined you, becoming who you were designed to be is not an instant shift. It is a returning to truth, a returning to identity, a returning to the voice inside you that speaks with wisdom, older than your lifetime. You begin to feel it, a pull toward meaning, a clarity that rises from within, a direction that doesn't come from logic, but from resonance. You no longer force your life into shapes that don't fit. You no longer shrink yourself to match the comfort of others. You no longer apologize for the size of your calling. Your soul begins to take its true shape. And this shape is not random. It is not small. It is not fragile. It is intentional. It is sacred. It is strong. Becoming who you were designed to be means you live from a deeper place now. A place guided by truth, strengthened by surrender, anchored by identity, and illuminated by the Creator. You start hearing your own voice again, the real one, the one that was buried under fear and expectation. Your choices shift. Your desires shift. Your relationships shift. Your priorities shift. Your atmosphere shifts. Not because you are forcing change, but because you have changed. Purpose flows through you now, the way breath flows through your lungs. You wake differently, walk differently, love differently, speak differently, dream differently. You begin to understand. The Creator didn't just make you. The Creator equipped you. Equipped you with resilience. Equipped you with vision. Equipped you with intuition. Equipped you with compassion. Equipped you with strength. Equipped you with divine identity. Becoming who you were designed to be is not becoming someone new. It is becoming someone true. This is the beginning of you, the emergence of the person you were always meant to become. A soul aligned, a life awakened, a purpose unfolding, a world within you, finally rising into the light. And once you reach this point, you no longer fear beginnings. You understand they are sacred, because every beginning is the Creator whispering, "This is who you are. This is who you've always been." Epilogue. The real beginning. There is a moment, after the fear, after the collapse, after the rebuilding, when you realize something profound. You are not returning to your old life. You are stepping into your real one. The journey you've walked through these chapters was never about becoming someone better. It was about uncovering the person who was always there beneath the fear, beneath the control, beneath the expectations, beneath the pain. You are not who you were, and you are not yet who you will be. You are becoming, and in this becoming, you awaken to the truth that was present. From your first breath, you were designed, you were intended, you were loved into existence by the Creator who lives within you. Every chapter of your life, the light, the shadow, the loss, the healing, was shaping the world inside you, preparing you to rise. This book ends, but your journey does not, because the real beginning is not found in these pages. It is found in the choices you make. After you close them, you will feel fear again. You will feel uncertainty again. You will feel the pull of the old self, trying to return. But now you know the way forward. You know how to breathe through fear. You know how to release control. You know how to rebuild from truth. You know where you came from. You know who you are becoming. You carry the Creator with you. You carry purpose within you. You carry a world inside you that is ready to rise. This is not the end. This is not even the beginning. This is the beginning of you.